Hey y'all, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Bashy Sarah, and you're tuned in to another episode of All the Things, where we literally talk about all the things. So my setup has changed yet again. Still trying to figure things out and work through different layouts, different setups, and I've resorted back to my old setup, which is more comfortable, is more laid back, and I added a couple things here and there. So hopefully I can get this figured out and just be done with the setup of the podcast layout and all that. Every Life is America's pro-life diaper and wipes company. My family absolutely loves them. There's no harsh toxins. There's no chemicals. It's perfectly safe for your little one. We love Every Life, their mission, their vision, everything about them. Use my code VASHTY10 for 10% off your first order. That is VASHTY10 for 10% off your first order. So today's episode is going to be a very interesting one for all the women out there who are listening. And you might not agree with me, which is great. That's the power of free speech. We can believe what we believe, think what we think, say what we want to say, and we have the freedom to do so. And so the topic and the title of today's episode is I Allow My Husband to ... So this episode is geared towards women who are more prone to the stance of controlling their spouse, more prone to taking the position of taking the leadership role or like the head of the household role. And I just want to encourage women to rethink their position, rethink their why. So early on into dating Jared, I was very, very vocal about how, I wanted him to be the leader of our household. I wanted him to be the spiritual leader, the physical leader, the financial leader, all of that. Now, my strong suit is finances. So I do take the lead in that aspect to some degree, in the sense I check our bank accounts daily. I make sure that all bills are paid. I am on top of all of our expenses. However, at the end of the day, I go to him and I let him know, hey, this is where we're at financially. Hey, this is what's in our account currently. Hey, I want to make this purchase. This is what we currently have. What are your thoughts on that? So, and not saying that he's like the end all ruler or, he tells me I'm allowed to buy certain things or I'm allowed to get my nails done. No, that's not it at all. It's essentially just being accountable to each other because yes, we are equals. Our value is equal. However, our role in marriage is completely different. And as the head of the household, I lean towards his discernment and his guidance on how to run the finances of the home and every other aspect of our relationship. So the whole idea of I allow my husband to ... that came about because I've been hearing more and more, and I've been seeing on social media these cute reels per se, or funny, satire-esque types of reels and videos about how, wives have to get onto their husbands and husbands aren't allowed to play video games and they're given certain privileges if they do certain things. And while some of it does come across as satire, there is truth to every joke. There is some truth, some type of truth to it. And I do believe there's this issue within the Western culture of controlling spouses, and women have taken the position of being the man of the house. They've taken the position of wearing the pants in the house, and men have stepped back, and in order to not have disorder or chaos or arguments all the time, they've stepped back and they said, okay, fine, you lead. I'll just do whatever you say. And sadly, that has been the theme and the shift in society. And I think that has a lot to do with why there's so much disrespect in the home, is because men, unfortunately, have stepped back, but also women have stepped up, but stepped up with the wrong intentions. Women want to be the sole breadwinner in the home and use that as a tool, use that as a manipulative weapon to weaponize their spouse and saying, well, I'm the one bringing the money, so you cook, you clean, you take care of the kids, and the list goes on. Failing to realize that the design that the Lord gave us as females, the role that the Lord gave us as females is to serve, to be the helper, and to aid the husband where aid is necessary. So I allow my husband to ... You fill in the blank. If you're a female and you're listening to this and you feel a little bit convicted and you know you've fallen into that trap, maybe you don't allow your husband to play video games and your reasoning behind that is, oh, it's very addictive and he could be doing other things other than playing video games. Maybe it's because he was once addicted to it. Maybe it's because, you think the games are extremely violent. All of those reasons are extremely valid. However, you are not the parent. You are not his mother. You are his spouse. And as a spouse, you help him. So if it's an addiction, you help him out of that addiction. If it's he uses video games to pass time, but a little bit too much where the big things aren't being taken care of, you help him to realize that. I don't have a problem with video games. I don't think it's evil. I believe anything in excess can become a god, can become an idol in your life. All my brothers, growing up, all my brothers played video games, and I saw how beneficial it was for them to connect with other guys. And it builds certain skills, whatever it may be. And it's just an outlet and a pastime for guys. So I encourage my husband, I encourage Jared from time to time, especially if I see if he's super stressed, a lot's going on, or he's working extremely hard, I'll tap him on the shoulder and be like, hey, honey, go hop on the game. Hey, hon, go play video games. And not that he needs my permission, but oftentimes the man, especially if you married a man like mine who is extremely driven, who wants to work hard, who wants to provide, who is a go-getter, he'll sacrifice all the fun things in order to meet the goals for the home, in order to provide and meet those needs. And as the wife, you helping him, you aiding him is tapping him on the shoulder and be like, hey, it's okay. Go have fun. Go out with the guys. Go golfing, whatever it may be, whatever his thing is. But I say that with, if his thing is destructive, will harm, is going against God's will, it is destructive either emotionally, mentally, physically, sexually, whatever it may be, obviously don't encourage him to do that. But the whole idea of this episode is the culture and the mindset that us as females have, especially with the feminist movement, is we feel like we know best, so we control and we take control in every aspect of the man's life. And that is not what a godly woman is. And that is not what love is. Love isn't control. By no means it's control. God didn't control us and tell us, you have to serve me. You have to do this. You have to do that. Submission is a choice. Serving God is a choice. Accepting salvation is a choice. In marriage, it's constant submission one to another. But like I said, and I've been harping on quite a bit in this episode, is in today's society, women have stood strong and we've dug our heels into the ground and said, we know best. We're going to run the home. We're going to provide. We're going to be the macho, I can do it all feminist. And you, man, take your place and submit to me. And it's sad. It is truly, truly sad. My husband and I both have seen so many men who have become docile and weak and just not manly. And I don't want to say feminine because they don't have feminine tendencies, but they've taken on the feminine role. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home dad or taking care of the kids. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that because it is a shared responsibility. The household taking care of kids is shared. However, us as females, we were built to be nurturers, Men were built to be providers and protectors. And when we strip them of that role, we have men who are clueless, men who feel like they have no purpose, men who get addictive personalities and are living in secret sins of porn and masturbation, men who take on habits that they never would have taken on before, not justifying any of this behavior, but it does explain why men today have shifted and have gone different areas. Why? Because we as women have been so adamant about, I can do it all. Who run the world? Women do. We actually don't. We don't. So I just wanted to, release a different type of episode this week about how you approach your spouse. And if you are single or you're dating and you've pinpointed this type of attitude in you already, I urge you to nip that in the bud, get that dealt with as soon as possible. Because one of the worst things you can do is treat another mom's son as if they're nobody and strip them of their manhood. And I think a lot of why I believe what I believe or the mindset that I've adapted is because I have 3 brothers. I love my brothers and I would hate to see them be controlled and be stripped away of their manhood because of a controlling, unsubmissive wife. I love them and I want them to be the men in their home. But I will say this, there's always a but. It's in the man's court as well. If you aren't being the man, if you aren't working and going after it, there's a tendency for women to rise up because the man's not taking their role. So, there's both parties at play here. There's 2 ends of the spectrum. But what I want to harper on, what I really, really want to dig my heels in is quit with the I allow my husband to. Remove that verbiage from your mouth. Honestly, it's so embarrassing hearing women talk and them saying, yeah, I allow him to play video games. I allow him to hang out with the guys. I allow him 1 hour. He's not no child. He doesn't work for you. Because here's the thing. In society today, women saying that is completely okay. And we've adapted that as norm. However, if roles were reversed, if men were saying, yeah, I allow my wife to go shopping. I allow my wife to go hang out with friends. I allow my wife an allowance to spend money. Oh my goodness. There would be an uproar in the Western Hemisphere. There would be a major uproar about controlling and abusive and manipulative husbands. But women, somehow we've convinced the world this is okay. A lot of it has to do with in the olden days and saying, women being suppressed and not giving equal opportunities. I totally get that. But I think in today's society, we've taken it to the extreme and we've said, oh, we don't want to go back to the past. So we're going to take full control of our lives. That now we struggle and suffer with submission and we don't know how to submit to our spouse. So that's about it for today's episode. Rid the verbiage of I allow my husband to and truly evaluate what it means to be a submissive spouse. It's one to another. Love isn't controlling. Love doesn't point the finger and say, you do this, you do that. Love is submission, one to another, equal roles. While you both are equal in importance, your roles in marriage, your roles in relationship is extremely different. So 7 Weeks is America's pro-life coffee. It's premium coffee delivered right to your doorsteps. All roast available and it's absolutely delicious. Start your morning off with 7 Weeks coffee. It's not just drinking coffee, it's drinking coffee with a purpose. Use my code VASHTI10 for 10% off your first order. That is VASHTI10 for 10% off your first order. That's it for today's episode. I hope y'all enjoy it. Like, share, subscribe, do all the things, and I will see y'all next time.